Hello, and welcome to the Cuties Choice Awards, which isn't really exactly what it sounds like. You only picked one, we picked the rest, but God love you. And we just wanted to end the year with a little yearly recap, but our way. We know there are other podcasts that let their fans vote based on categories they pick, and we said, no, we're just going to tell you how we feel at the end of the year. But there is one category at the end that Cuties voted on.
Yeah, we really just like to stick with what we know. And what we know is talking about ourselves and things that we like. So buckle up.
Yeah, why shake up a good thing? Now, if you are on the main feed, you are listening to part one of a two-part experience. So next Friday, the next TGIF episode will be part two of this award show. But if you are a Patreon cutie, you can listen to the full thing right now. So go over there and listen to the end so you don't get blue balls halfway through.
Go over there to the Patreon and jerk it. Stick your dick or clit into a vacuum cleaner.
Whatever works.
That's the lowdown. By the way, I'm Chelsea and I'm the cute one. That's Donnie and he's the cute one.
No, the host of the award show has to introduce us.
Well, who's the host?
The guy that talks like this. And now, your hosts, Donnie and Chelsea.
They're the cute ones. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. We paid
extra for him, so I hope you like it.
Yeah, we also paid extra for Joe Coy's writers. Because remember, that happened in 2024.
What a year.
Well, let's take a walk down memory lane. I think for me, 2024 was the year of painting walls and doors.
I would say so. When I was at your house last, you painted things that even your children didn't know about. Your oldest went downstairs and saw the blue on that cabinet and said, whoa, this is new.
Well, that's what it's like to live with me, where just every once in a while, oh, here's a little project I did in the middle of the night on a Wednesday.
Great. Now, does the toilet close? Maybe not, but at least we got a blue cabinet.
Did the door shut all the way? Well, you got to yank up and pull real hard, but I got a new blue wall in the basement.
But I wouldn't ask for anything else.
What did you get up to this year? It was a pretty low-key year for you, I feel. Not a whole lot of big changes or life shakeups.
No, nothing crazy, just a divorce here or there. But that was the beginning of the year. So I feel like I've lived a different life from by the time I asked for that divorce. I went through my slut era and then came out of it because as a bottom, it is so hard. And I'm sure women understand, but as a bottom, it's so hard to have a slut era because you really need to prepare. You can't just go out and do it in an alley without a preparation. So I went through that and then I realized it wasn't worth it. So now I just am slutty when I feel like it. But doing it all the time sure was a lot of work.
Well, I'm really proud of you, Donnie. I do feel like you went through many eras this year. The slut era, the veal parmesan era.
That's never over.
to quote that guy in The Notebook, it's never over.
I'm not familiar.
You wrote veal parmesan every day for a year, Donnie.
I would eat it every day for a year. But speaking of, my doctor said yesterday that my blood pressure is down. So that's something else that happened this year. Finally, it took all year. It took multiple doctor's visits, but we got it down. She came in and said, that number looks good on you.
Wow.
Said, thank you.
Really, I feel like this was the year for me of setting boundaries. And I know this is anticlimactic perhaps for the cuties, but this was the year that I decided enough is enough. And I'm done doing shit for people who ain't doing shit for me. And I gotta say, at the end of the year, looking back, it was hard, but who knew that boundaries work?
Who knew? Just every therapist. But I'm glad you finally know.
One thing about me is I'm a learn by experience type of gal. You can tell me what to do all day, but no thank you.
Well, I'm glad. I'm still on that journey. We're in the beginning stages of boundaries with me.
I would say so. I think that telling people to mind their business, those are some pretty good boundaries.
Well, thank you. Mind yours. I just had to say it. You have nothing to mind your business about. You need to put it in practice often.
Okay.
So I don't forget.
So professionally, though, with this podcast, I do have to shout out the Cuties because they have been supporting the shit out of us. And this was the year. It's so weird that this is only a year old, but this was the year that we started doing TGIF.
I know.
It feels like we've always done it.
I know, but we sure haven't. We've done a lot this year. TGIF, we really started cracking down on how consistent we are on Patreon, which then makes 3 episodes a week that we do. And it is joyful.
It is joyful. You and I talked recently because we both were just having, casual mentee bees, as we love to do several times a week at this point in 2024. But I really do love, and this is so cheesy, but I really do love this podcast. It is such a bright spot. Like, even when I hate everybody and everything, I don't hate you and I don't hate the Cuties. And it's so nice to know that, like, even though it is kind of bonkers that we're recording 3 times a week, we are talking on a microphone upwards of 6 hours a week and then just texting in between all day, every day. But I know that even if I am a cranky old bitch starting the episode, I will log off lighter and happier and sillier. So thank you, Cuties, for listening, because we would be just 2 weirdos yelling into the void without you.
We really do appreciate you.
Also this year we covered Glee, we covered part of Big Brother, we covered Pretty Wild, we covered Boy Meets Boy, and we trauma dumped a whole bunch. We did a lot of talking about things that we hope people don't ever listen to.
Truly. And you left out Desperate Housewives, which we're currently covering. And I know we're not finished that yet, but probably we covered more episodes of that than we did anything else you named.
That's true.
And we have a store.
Oh, yeah, we launched merch.
My goodness. Look at us go. Donnie Bezos and Chelsea Musk.
Oh, please. Yuck. Stay tuned for my gross yuckies of the year.
Oh, I can't wait.
So, before we get to the boos and the hisses and the tomatoes, let's talk about our best movies of the year.
Okay.
In case you're new here, Cuties, my rule for best movie of 2024 is not if the movie came out this year, it's if I watched it this year for the first time. So, why don't I go first, Donnie, just because mine's all over the place, and then you can round us out with what I presume is the actual assignment.
Okay, sounds good.
My top 5 movie of the year, moving from number 5 to number 1, we have Interview with the Vampire, which then led me to read the book, which then led me to start my fairy porn journey. So I have a lot of thanks I have to give to that movie.
There's an Interview with the Vampire TV show that I thought was going to make its way into this story, but instead fairy porn. Mm-hmm. But you should watch the TV show.
All roads lead to fairy porn. Number 4, I have Little Shop of Horrors.
Okay.
I love that movie. Number 3, I have Wicked.
Wow, okay.
Number 2, I have Bottoms.
Okay.
And number 1, in the number 1 spot of best movie of 2024, I have Cabin in the Woods.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Which several of those were recommendations from you. So we really are turning over a new leaf.
We are, and 1 out of the 5 actually came out this year. You are basically a whole new tree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, honorable mentions do go to Red Eye, American Fiction, and Stepford Wives, the Nicole Kidman one.
Okay.
And then on my boo hiss tomato list, I have Sucker Punch, The Bling Ring, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter is Dead, and Deadpool and Wolverine. I fucking hated that movie, and anybody who pretends to like it is stupid.
I didn't see it yet. I was very excited to see it in theaters, but then I have a thing about me where if I'm excited about something and then the way I want to experience it doesn't happen, then I just lose all excitement.
That's fair.
Thank
I think
you.
my issue is that Ryan Reynolds, and I know it's a character and I know it's the way that it's written, but now that the Ryan Reynolds mask has slipped and then he's on screen being like, I'm so charismatic and quirky and funny. I'm like, no, you're not. Sit down and shut up, Ryan Reynolds.
I get it. I'll still probably watch it eventually, and I'll probably still like it. Because another thing about me, Chelsea, is I don't know if it's marketing, I don't know if it's Kool-Aid, I don't know if it's brainwashing. Whatever Josie and the Pussycats magic happens, however I'm supposed to feel about something, I usually do. So the world hasn't turned against Ryan Reynolds yet, but when they do, I'll probably dislike him with you.
Great. I can't wait. I think it's coming for us sooner than later.
Yeah, but I don't know. He is a good-looking white man, so I think that even though we might be told by the mainstream media to dislike him, I don't know if the world at large will follow suit.
Or fall in suit.
What a way to get dressed. Just fall in suit.
I put my pants on the same way everybody else does. I fall in suit. That's how Alice in Wonderland gets dressed, down that little hole.
Eat me. So I brought 5 movies that came out this year. I will also be going from least favorite to favorite out of the top 5. Number 5, Woman of the Hour, starring and directed by Anna Kendrick. Loved it. You know, I really like a movie when it encourages me to actually educate myself. Because a lot of the times I don't. It just goes in and hits a brick. But but that movie made me look up the real killer, the real like dating show, scandal, all of that. So good job, Anna.
Way to go.
Number 4, Blink Twice. It was my personality for about 7 days. Then in number 3, Abigail. Loved it. Number 2 and number 1 went back and forth every time I typed this list.
Okay.
But I have decided at the time of me saying it, number 2, yeah, I'm going to say it. Number 2 is Challengers, and number 1 is Wicked. Now I have to move on very quickly because I'm already wanting to change my mind. But where we are right now, Challengers and Wicked.
Marvelous.
Wonderful. We did a great job. Let's congratulate ourselves after every category and say how good we did.
Way to go. Wow. Great choices, Donnie and Chelsea. Oh, and let's just get it out of the way. Cuties, you should know us well enough by now. Donnie gave the disclaimer and the warning last week, but favorite is different than best. Now, we are literally saying best movie, best this, best that. We're idiots. So you can get all outraged, but leave us a 5-star review and leave your outrage there because we're us.
We are, but also we are idiots, but that has nothing to do with what we like.
True. You can be dumb or smart and like things.
Yeah, that's number 1. And number 2, if you want to go jerk off over a movie, sit next to Pee Wee Herman or watch the Oscars. We are here to talk about the things that just tickled us pink this year.
Indeed.
Oh, also, Chelsea and I did not show each other our list, so everything we're saying is a surprise to each other. Our second category is Best Newcomer. Now, this can be an actual newcomer, someone new to the scene, or just a newcomer to us, probably to Chelsea. Like, if she watched, let's say in an alternate universe, Chelsea watched The Bling Ring for the first time this year, and she was really inspired by Emma Watson's accent in it, then she could say, my best newcomer is Emma Watson in The Bling Ring, even though it came out about 17 years ago.
My second favorite newcomer would be my ear doctor, who I would immediately have to go to because something would be very wrong if I thought that was the case.
Well, I might put her on my list because she was great in that movie, but my real newcomer is Angela from Big Brother 26.
Oh, good one, Donnie.
Thank you. She deserves to be on reality TV for the rest of her life, certainly the rest of my life. And then my second newcomer is Chappell Roan. I pushed back on her for a long time because I don't like her aesthetically. I prefer Lady Gaga when she wore a bathing suit and a zigzag on her face, not when she wore a meat dress and stuff. And I feel like Chappell Roan started meat dressy.
Okay.
But then
well, funny you should say this because she is my newcomer of the year.
Wow.
Because I went from, on this very podcast, on a TGIF episode, asking you, is it Chappell or Chappelle? And we both decided it was pronounced Chappell Rowan. So we went from that early in the year to now the way that I get my daughters out the door is I go H-O-T-T and they both go O-G-O. So she's made her way into our morning routine and helps me every day not commit murder.
Well, that's good.
Get out the fucking door and put your shoes on, bitches. Now, I'm very interested to see where she goes because it does not seem like she likes being a celebrity. I feel like she might be either a shooting star going past us, never to be seen again by choice, or she will find her own way of navigating celebrity and boundaries, etc.
Yeah, not that they've had the same career at all, but I think Raven Simone only likes being on the Disney Channel. I think she likes being a star as long as she is basically self-producing, and I feel like Chappell Roan could have the same energy. I just don't know
what her Disney Channel is.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with a lot of her points about the fact that, like, you become a celebrity and all of a sudden privacy isn't a thing anymore and people treating you with basic decency isn't a thing anymore. But it definitely seems like she needs to figure out how to navigate that.
Absolutely.
So we shall see.
Bless
so
you.
Next up, we have Best TV Show. And I only had one because I have finished very few TV shows this year. I've started a bunch and only one caught my attention to a full binge where I watched it from H to T, and that is The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh.
I feel like it's reality TV the way we haven't seen reality TV in a while. It's these women who are thirsty, they are ready, they are prepared. They think they understand the assignment. They absolutely do not. And I really hope that season 2 continues that, where they're so used to self-producing on TikTok that when it comes to television, they don't know what the fuck they're doing in the most delightful way.
Well, I hope that for you as well.
Thank you.
I still get DMs of people trying to tell me to watch it, but my heart is with you.
I think that if it was just a TV show following Whitney, you would love it because she is unhinged in a way that both of us enjoy. But I think that the ugliness of the husbands would really take you out of it.
Thank you for knowing me so well.
They're ugly on the inside, but even worse for you, they're ugly on the outside.
Yeah, I don't mind the inside. I brought 5. So
Great.
in number 5, I said Dexter Original Sin. Now, I've never watched a second of Dexter my entire life, but in the prequel, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Christina Milian are both in it, and I am eating it up.
Okay, I for a second thought that you meant that you haven't watched a second of this show that you're coining number 5. I was like, that is very me, because in my best TV shows, I did consider quite a few shows that I only watched clips of on TikTok, but I'm a purist at heart.
That's nice of you. I would have accepted it, especially if one was 911. But I have watched the only episode out of this currently, which is the pilot. And funny enough, the pilot is Showtime's most streamed pilot of all time.
Wow.
So just one episode's out. It's the most streamed pilot in history. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Christina Milian are in it. It has me interested in watching the original Dexter, but I'll give it more time. I want to live in this world with Christina Milian and Sarah Michelle Gellar first. Then if I care about the characters, I'll see what they look like when they're old.
Well, I almost feel like this is the way to do it. And I know it doesn't make sense because a prequel always comes out because it's before the stuff you're supposed to watch first. But you don't have any preconceived notions of where the plot goes. So you really can just enjoy it without knowing what happens to all of them and how fucking annoying Deb is.
Is that the sister? Mm-hmm. Oh, she's annoying in this, too.
Well, then they did a great job capturing the character. Old pouty pants Deb.
Number 4, I have Abbott Elementary. It's great again this season. Last season was rough. Janine was at a different school. They brought in a big celebrity every episode, but now we're back on track. Number 3 is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So this season with Bronwyn, etc., Brittany, What About Me, they're all firing on all cylinders. But if we're going to get technical, January 2nd, 2024 was the Bermuda episode with Monica and...
It sure was.
I'm not saying that quote, but you know the quote. Mm-hmm. So that is one of my greatest shows of 2024. Number 2, I thought it was going to be on your list because of TikTok, but it didn't make it. 911. It's not a new show. Half the stuff on my list was not a new show, but the Buck bisexual storyline. I like anything with gay sex, so sign me up. And we didn't even see gay sex. Knowing that it's happening somewhere in this universe, I was proud of it. And my number 1 show on TV this year was The Traitors.
Oh, I forgot about The Traitors. See, this is sparking my memory. I finished The Traitors too, so I'm adding that to my list because that's another show that I watched every episode of.
And you know how I feel about season 2 of The Traitors. I feel like they casted it so well, it felt like All-Stars. I feel like when we do this Cuties Choice Awards in 2030 of the best things of all the 2020s, this will still be top of the list because I don't know how they're going to get better than season 2.
The trailer looks pretty good for the new season. I'm cautiously optimistic.
If you say so. Allegedly.
Okay.
Our next category is Song of the Year. Chelsea, you're more of a musician than me. Would you like to go first?
Sure. Well, I do want to just generally speak of music moments that happened this year. So we had Capitalism, Barbie, and the Eras Tour. That continued. We had the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake feud. We had Fast Car being performed in February of 2024 with Luke Combs keeping the lyrics the same. I think that that's the thing that not enough people talk about is Luke Combs keeping the lyrics and the pronouns of the song completely the same so that Tracy Chapman retained the solo writing credit. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So that I just wanted to mention as some big music moments along with Cowboy Carter, etc. But for me, my Spotify was all about quiet quitting. I was quiet quitting on my eldest daughter responsibilities this year. So Eldest Daughter by Isabel Pless was on repeat It did come out in 2021, so I'll just loop in. She came out with another song called The Bite that is the same vibe, and that came out this year, so that's my loophole. Then I also said Stick Season by Noah Kahan. Also didn't come out technically this year, but he just continues to re-release the same songs with new artists joining the track. So I like him. I know that that's not a hot take by any means. He is Gen Z's Jack Johnson. If he sounded like Mumford & Sons, sign me up. I love it. So those were just some that were on repeat in my home, along with a lot of Descendants.
That's the first song I know.
That's my daughter's fucking up my Spotify Wrapped.
Fucking up or making it good? We'll never know. It depends.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my songs, I have a few from not this year that snuck in as well. Starting with number 5, Single Soon by Selena Gomez. Technically, it came out August 2023, but because of how my year went, I really needed this song as my little anthem, so I overplayed it so much to the point that it was in my Spotify Wrapped Top 5. So, thank you, Selena, for that. Also, this was my country year, and we'll get to more country songs that I enjoyed later, but Tipsy by Shabuzi is so good. First of all, this man is so fine. And not fine in like a one-night stand way, Chelsea. This is someone who will sing to you by a fire, where you'll look like the girl from You, and then he'll fuck you raw in the woods using his spit as lube. This man is so Brokeback coded. He's like the perfect boyfriend when I look at him. And him aside, aesthetics aside, the sample of Tipsy, it is just a perfect song.
Remarkable. I'm happy for you. How does it go? I don't know if I know that song.
Everyone pour another shot of whiskey.
No.
Yeah, you know it. 1 is to the 2 to the 3 to the 5.
Yeah.
You know it. Oh my good Lord. Did you know he's black?
No, I haven't looked up anything about that song or that artist except that it's always with the wine moms on Instagram Reels.
That's actually one of his, I don't want to say worst because it is top 5 for me, but it is one of his, like, not the best songs.
Well, I think that's pretty true to form. If it becomes a TikTok clip, they will make royalties, so get your coin, but they're never taken from the good songs from artists. They're taken from whatever you can do a little, like, dance to.
Right. Okay. Number 3, more cowboy shit for me. Ya Ya by Beyonce. Now, Texas Hold'em was originally in the spot, but then I thought about it, and this gives Tina Turner and Ike Turner like variety show vibes, so top tier for me. Number 2, Chelsea's gonna log off as soon as I say it, but there was a resurgence, in my eardrums at least, of Sneaker Night, so it did make my top 5. I haven't talked about a song that much all year, except for my number 1 song, Espresso. And this was in my Spotify Wrapped as my most played non-Broadway song of 2024.
Wow. My Spotify Wrapped this year, it seemed mean-spirited. You know, usually they're telling me what little town in Vermont full of gay people would like my playlists. Or I think one year they called me like a taste collector. Like, wow, you dabble in a lot of genres. This year they said, wow, on April 4th, you listened to Spotify for, I don't know, 1 million hours. How do you find the time? I'm like, well, you're presuming a lot about me right now, Spotify.
I might have fully made this up. It could have came to me in a dream like Moses, but I do think I read it somewhere. This was the first year Spotify used AI to get their rap stuff. So that's why you didn't have a clever intern creating it. You had AI doing it. So you didn't get the Vermont stuff. You got like what kind of person you are, but not in the fun way they used to. Now you got like just random words thrown at you. Like,
yeah, it was like the day list. Like you do your day list and it's like cozy cabin, neurotic morning juice. And it's like, well, all those words do apply, but what? So instead of make America great again, make interns creative again. No robots in the new year.
But if we are using robots, I know we said we're going to do it ourselves, but Chelsea, I was thinking, what if and I'll do it alone, so this way you have no ties to it. What if I get AI to write an episode of our witch show?
What I don't know doesn't hurt me. And I would like to publicly say to my NSA agent, shout out to you. You deserve a bonus this year for my Google searches in the middle of the night. I'm just letting it be known I am not participating in the AI still. So when the uprising happens, my hands are clean.
Now, I did tell Alexa to stop playing music before I logged on today, and she kept playing it.
See?
And I was like, what is happening? Now, it was Shabuzi, so maybe she knew what's best for me.
So now moving on to the start, the tip of the iceberg of topics we made about us. I want us to talk about the best TGIF headlines we covered this year. I had a couple in mind. The Willy Wonka one comes to mind, for example. But I really do think our original Charlotte the Stingray era was peak reporting. I feel like that's really when we started hitting our stride with TGIF. If you listen to like the first couple TGIF episodes, bless our hearts, we're so sweet. We were really trying to like deliver the news. But I feel like with Charlotte, that's when we really started realizing, oh, right, we're us. We should just talk shit about things. And it really was a simpler time. It was a time of hope. It was a time where we really believed that a stingray might be pregnant with shark babies. So just shout out to Charlotte, the stingray, possibly impregnated by shark, about to give birth at the NC Aquarium.
I went more newsworthy because I picked something that was just juicy. I said the One Tree Hill drama. I do love that shit. Any show from our past where the actresses will fight to this day, Desperate Housewives included, I am all aboard. But in terms of how we reported, yes, Charlotte for sure. So our next category comes from a cutie on Patreon. We asked the Patreon cuties to give us topics because, of course, we had best movie, best TV show, but we needed other things. So we said, what do you want us to cover? And cutie said, best of Chelsea's vocal stems. So Chelsea, you gave me a lot this year. One should have been left in 2023, but it, just like Monica and Bermuda, found a way to trickle into 2024 and get its way on the list. Candy cane up your ass. Why we were talking about it in January, not quite sure, but there it was. So that's an option. Yeehaw Baby was said a lot this year. Oopsie Kitty was, I don't think originated this year, but it was certainly said many, many times.
I've reached the point where I forget that's not a normal thing to say. And now I just say it in passing or when I make a small mistake at work, for example. So I don't think that one's going anywhere.
No, certainly not to the top of my list either. I don't know if this is, I guess it's a stem. It's not really something you say, it's how you say it. Aunt Zelda / Kermit impressions. Actually, you did a lot of impression work this year that, again, I'm not sure if it's a stem or your launch into your acting career, but if it is, we'll talk about it.
Keep your day job, honey.
And also, Rex cries when he ejaculates got a lot of use this year as well. But my favorite of everything I've said, and maybe it's because you didn't make it up, is Yeehaw Baby.
And I think the thing about that vocal stem is perhaps it's because I don't say it a lot, but I really do save it for those moments where there's only one thing to say, and that's Yeehaw, baby.
I sent you and your daughters a video of me in a cowboy hat at Kohl's or something saying it. So I knew when it made its way to me saying it, that's when it won its place in my heart.
Now, the companion piece to my vocal stems is I was asked by Patreon cuties to identify the most chaotic addition to Donnie lore. So a new story you've told, a new piece of history that we weren't sure of before. Certainly there were a lot to pick from. We had you randomly knowing everything there is to know about Abraham Lincoln. That wasn't on my bingo card. We had you recently talking about the time you worked at Panera. Have never heard that you worked at that establishment ever in my life, so that was shocking to hear. Most recently, we've learned about you sticking your dick in a vacuum. And all I have to say is inanimate objects with cleaning properties hate to see you coming because somewhere the plunger is listening to Adele and crying. Now, all of those chaotic, the Donnie that we know and love, but the most shocking addition to Donnie lore from this year was you singing Losing My Religion at the Hootie and the Blowfish concert. The fact that you know all the words to classic rock songs is so shocking. And yes, the reason you know it is because of Glee, but you leave me speechless often, and that is truly the most shocking thing I've learned about you this year.
Wow. How beautiful. I could sing it right now as our performance in the award show, but I won't. Our next category is Best Worst Haircut. Again, this is Patreon submitted category, and I picked Ben Affleck's thin faux hawk post-breakup. It was so bad. Some hairstyles, and I get it. That's why I'm bald now, because I've tried many hairstyles that my genes just weren't supporting anymore, and he learned it the hard way as well.
He sure did. You would have thought he learned it after he got that tattoo on his back, but he really doubled down.
He did, didn't he?
I love that Ben Affleck at the end of the day is just trash. but in a good way. He is that guy from your hometown, chain smoking cigarettes in the morning time outside of Dunkin' Donuts, where you aren't mad to see him, but you feel lucky that you don't have to have small talk with him because he doesn't want to talk to you either. You know, that's his energy.
But I'd blow him.
Well, you might blow that guy from high school too. My best worst haircut was when you convinced me to go blonde this summer, because I do look back on some of those videos, Donnie, and the hair was very Katie Maloney circa second season of Vanderpump Rules.
You said after it transitioned, it would look good.
And it did. We got over the hump, but there were some really troubling, challenging times in June and July that we have video footage. Go on our YouTube, cuties, and take a gander yourself, because especially combined with the brassy cave lighting of my basement dwelling where I record this show, some of those episodes are quite shocking to go back and see.
Well, I agree.
And now it's time. We both have come up with our top 5 hots and our top 5 nots. So I'll go first. How do you want to do this? Should I do my hots and nots and then you do your hots and nots? Or should we both do hots?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So I am going to start with my nots of 2024 in no particular order, starting off with men, all of them. Because collectively, women chose the bear this year. Next, we have Justin Timberlake because of his DUI that was going to ruin the tour. And if that didn't ruin the tour, most recently, the fact that we all saw that he has a tiny, tiny little dick with that unfortunate harness situation. I love that Britney Spears fans finally got their comeuppance and he got what was coming to him. You know, I heard somebody once said what goes around comes around, and I feel like he really got to experience it this year. So fuck you, Justin. Next up, we have on the nots list, housewives driving drunk, because we had good old Shannon Bedore running into a house on the OC. And then most recently, we were just graced with the Karen Huger footage.
We were.
And speaking of shocking, my word. Somebody said that when you start wearing your wig like a hoodie, you drank too much and you shouldn't get behind the wheel of a car. Next up, we have Elon Musk. What a weirdo. And these technically came out in November of 2023, but I didn't see my first Tesla truck until 2024. So I just want to add that on my not list because those Minecraft-looking motherfuckers are dumb. So fucking stupid. And then last on the 2024 not list is Diddy. And a whole bunch more people probably coming. You look confused, Donnie.
I think let's not do all of yours and then all of mine. Let me do my nots because I think I misunderstood. I didn't take it as like a out and in, like this is chic, this is sick, or whatever they say in 17 magazine. I labeled them by hotness and notness.
You have a true hot and not list.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, let's hear who you think is ugly in 2024 then. Go ahead.
Okay. So, my not list is Anna Taylor-Joy. You know I hate her with those eyes across her face. Then, in the number 4 spot, the lead of the Cruel Intentions TV show. I didn't even bother to look up his name because we're never going to see him again. Number 3, Alexandria Daddario. I know every straight man listening and Chelsea disagree with me right now. She's the girl from Percy Jackson, the movie. I think she's one of the ugliest people on earth. Everyone I say that to fights me, including my dad, Quinn, you, etc. The number 2 spot is shocking. Everyone's going to think this is number 1, but here we are. You were 6, so I didn't label it.
Thank God.
Number 2, Ethan Slater in my number 2 spot.
Okay.
Not number 1. And number 1, Mikey Madison. She was in Scream 5, ruined it for me. She's getting a lot of love for that movie she's in, Honora, but I think she's one of the ugliest people on the planet, and I cannot watch a 2.5-hour movie with her. She looks like... She looks like someone, you know that bonk thing at Chuck E. Cheese where you hit the most?
Whack-a-mole?
Yeah, she looks like someone used one of those whack-a-mole hammers to hit a blow-up doll. She is so ugly to me.
Okay, well.
And my honorable mention, Gen Z.
Great. Okay. Well, You know, we couldn't write it better that our biggest category we didn't bother to confer beforehand.
We said it was a surprise to each other.
It was a surprise. So there you have it, Donnie's list of Uggos 2024. Now, on my hot list, I have holding grudges because we had a lot of grudges this year. Elmo versus Rocco continued, Kendrick Lamar versus Drake, Drew Barrymore versus Personal Space, me versus you. And I hope that we bring this energy into the new year as well. So fingers crossed.
Please.
Next, we have taking breaks and being anti-capitalist. So first of all, shout out to Luigi, but also we saw celebrities like Trixie Mattel taking time away. And I hope that we're moving in that direction where we can all rest a little bit. Mm-hmm. Next, we have delusions of grandeur and leaning in. We had Brat Summer. We were very demure, very mindful. We won't settle until somebody's going to match our freak. I want us all to go into the new year with Countess Luann energy, minus the arrest and having a bologna sandwich thrown at her face. But the way that woman has leaned in and has just become a caricature of herself in a delightful way, that's the energy we should all be bringing. And then my last one is fairy porn / Sarah J. Maas, because I am going to be finishing Kingdom of Ash before the new year. And this is the wild thing, Donnie. I know that you feel like I have been reading fairy porn for years and years and years, but I only started my journey in March of 2024, and I have blasted through about 15 books. So shout out to Sarah J. Maas for writing quite possibly the most insufferable main characters known to man, and for taking up my brain space for the past 8 months, lest I not be alone with my thoughts for a single moment.
But that's incredible. You read so much this year. I originally wanted to make Best Book Read this year a category and realized I only read 3 books this year. So quickly scratch that off. So way to go.
Sorry, that was only 4 because I forgot. My number 5 is Flava Flav, because I just love everything that man's up to. I loved that when he learned that the polo players were struggling to make ends meet, he jumped in. He's trying to save chain restaurants. He's just being a delight out here. So thank you, Flava Flav, for being quite possibly one of the only not morally corrupt celebrity males we have in Hollywood right now.
He's so fun. And if you are, please find a way to keep it a secret. I don't want to know.
Lock those skeletons up tight in the closet. Flava Flav.
My 5 hottest. In the number 5 spot, you may recall I was bisexual for a little bit at the start of the year. Renee Rapp. She did it to me. She'll probably do it to me again. God bless her. Number 4, Chase Crawford. He's on The Boys in a skin-tight suit every week. Love it. Zendaya's my number 3 spot. She never made me bisexual, but I think about it. Number 2, Lucien Laviscount from Emily in Paris. He's also the background on my phone, almost naked, basically in underwear. Your youngest daughter did see my phone background. I tried to hide it. I put my screen minimum. She saw it, tapped me on the shoulder to make sure that she did in fact see. Tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and she did this. Like, okay, relax. And then my number 1, Jonathan Bailey, but only as Fiyero or in the Milk Cum shirt.
And you know what? I will co-sign, specifically Wicked, but I've even come around to the cum shirt.
Thank you. And that was our last category for part 1 of this award show. Again, the entire uncut episode is now available on Patreon, so go listen to that if you are a Patreon subscriber, or tune in next week where we will talk about some of our favorite performances of the year, the hottest bald men, our most surprising character development, and the Patreon decided Cutie of the Year. Talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Bye.
Bye.